This week on episode 102 of the Odd Data podcast, spring has sprung. At least in Arizona. I can't really say the same for the rest of the country, but I'm definitely feeling it. News has been pretty random this week. No real theme, just lots of oddity. I've got tarantula burgers, bad jokes, and even a couple of drug smugglers. And continuing on with the live stream from the Cure guests, this week's recommended listening feature takes you back to your childhood with Now That I'm Older.
Beginning Odd Data podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Odd Data podcast, where normal is not my specialty. I am your host, Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out, and this is the show where I share my little stories and ramblings and rants about whatever's going on in my head. I make fun of some weird news stuff, and I wrap it all up with a podcast recommendation, something I think you need to listen to, because I just like sharing, and I can't keep my brain to one thing for a whole hour. So... How you doing out there in listener land? Again, I don't know how to start. I just really don't. I just like, oh, how you doing? Like, you're gonna fucking answer. But I had a little spark because I can never come up with something else. So, really quick, it's the beginning of the show. You're still listening, so you might actually do this shit. First 5 people to send me an email or a tweet or a message on Facebook, just answering, how are you doing? I'm going to send you some stickers. No bullshit. That's what I'm going to do. Why the hell not? At least I'm getting a response. I'm forcing you to respond. You want some stickers? Go ahead. Hit me up on Facebook and Twitter at OddDadOut or show at OddDadOutPodcast.com and tell me how you're doing. And I will, let's see, the first 5 people. First 5 people to tell me how you're doing. And I'll send you some stickers. What the hell? All right. Enough of my stupidity with that. Like I said at the beginning, which I also start with, it's springtime. Officially, it's springtime. And I'm in Arizona. And in the Phoenix metro area out here, we're feeling summer. Okay, not quite summer. We're feeling spring. 'Cause it's still spring, technically. So the rest of the country, what I've got right now is summer. Meanwhile, they're still in blizzard mode. And that's tripping me out. Because today, it's gonna be 90 degrees. It's April. It's mid-April. It's going to be 90 degrees. And apparently last week there was actually a day where the official weather station out here in Phoenix is at the airport, which incidentally is the single hottest place in town because it's a fucking airport. It's a huge airport. Lots and lots of blacktop and tarmac and whatever. Side note, did you know tarmac is actually the name of the material, not actually like that's actually the material that the runways and everything is made of. It's like weird chemical ass thing. I forget exactly what it means, but it's actually the name of the material, not it's where planes land and take off. Anyway. End sidebar. But yeah, all that big ass open space with all this blacktop and all these reflective surfaces cause planes and all this stuff. It's the hottest fucking place in town. That being said, that's where the official weather station is because it's a nice, good, open air place centrally located that you can get good weather readings. Well, there was a day last week or so where it actually hit 100 degrees at the airport. Already in April. I think that might actually be the record. I stopped watching the news they always talk about that and it's like, oh, the record for today was this back in 1914 and whatever. And I think that might be the record for the earliest we've hit. No, I take it back. I think last year we hit 100 in March. But either way, fucking early to already be in the hundreds. Or at least to be 100. And yeah, that's crazy. But we're dealing with that out here. We're dealing with, okay, get your sunshades out for your cars. And you might want to put some, blankets to cover up your seatbelts. Otherwise, you're going to get third-degree burns when you try and buckle up. Things like that. We're dealing with that already. And at the same time, I'm seeing posts on Facebook and Twitter from friends in the East Coast and up in Canada, granted Canada. But like I've seen like Lisa and Sam from I Shake My Head posting about being, still buried in snow, and everybody up in, in like Connecticut and Jersey and Philly and all them, they're all still buried in snow and having all these blizzards and storms and all this shit going down. And, Chicago buried in snow. Everyone else is covered in snow right now. Like, all my podcast friends are sitting there shoveling snow every day. And all of these baseball games, the Yankees keep having to cancel home games because they can't play because there's too much snow, things like this. Like, it's baseball season. There shouldn't be snow in baseball season. Really? Not for this late, at least. I mean, come on. It's mid-April. It's good in spring already. Come on. It's officially been spring for a month. Don't tell the weather that, apparently, in the East Coast, but they're all freezing their asses off. Meanwhile, we're getting up and it's 75 degrees at 5 a.m. and it's 90 by lunch. And apparently with all of this spring happening here, and maybe it's because all of the bullshit allergens and whatever the shit left the East Coast. Maybe, I don't know how allergens work. I'm not a meteorologist or a doctor or any kind of a scientist or anything. I'm just some schmuck who sits here and rambles on a microphone. But apparently, out of fucking nowhere, I have allergies. I am 33 years old. Never in my life have I had allergies. But somewhere in the last 6 months, I have developed allergies. And suddenly I'm sitting here during the day, all fucking sniffles and sneezing and all of the stereotypical seasonal allergy bullshit. All the shit you see in the commercials with the stuffy nose and the sneezing and I can't go outside. Oh my God, I'm so stuffy. I've got that shit going on out of fucking nowhere. Never in my life have I ever experienced this. And it's not even, like, somebody said, I was like, oh, maybe it's because you moved. I was like, I moved here almost 9 years ago. And I grew up here. I'm used to desert, the plants and the pollen and and I've lived in my house for 2 years. The pollen around my house hasn't changed in the last 2 years. My neighbors still have a mesquite. The shit still drops all of its shit in my yard. That hasn't changed. I used to have 7 mesquite trees in my last house. There's nothing, unless one of my neighbors randomly planted some mutant flower that I've never seen before, which realistically, come on, it's so damn hot right now. Anything you plant's probably gonna burn if it's new. But out of nowhere, I've suddenly got all these allergies. And basically the only reason I'm not all sniffles and whatnot now is because it's a good day. That's it. For the last week, I've been all sniffles and sneezing and whatnot. And it's a good day. And that also helps that we've got all these fans and air purifiers and things that run, because my wife has always had allergies. And incidentally, she's allergic to our dog. So really, for her, she gets like skin allergies though. She's like, pet the dog and she's got to go wash her hands. Otherwise she'll break out and start getting really itchy. That's a whole other thing. My wife's got tons of allergies, but I've never had them. And I'm always one of those people that I haven't experienced a lot of these sort of maladies, like migraines and allergies and all these sort of, I've never experienced those. I've never had allergies. I've never got migraines before. My wife has all of these things. But it's interesting, in the last few months, I've had a migraine. Never had one before. And I'm sitting there just completely debilitated. And I'm like describing it to my wife, and she's like, yep, that's exactly how I feel 2 or 3 days a week. I'm like, fuck, this sucks. I've never had this feeling before. Oh my God. And I've said before, I have a really high pain tolerance, and that could be why I've never really felt like a migraine before, is that my tolerance for pain is a lot higher than I'd say your average person. I'm not Superman, but I can handle more pain than the average person, I think, or in my experience anyway. And things like, but I've never had those feelings. I was like, wow, this sucks. And I was like, I can only imagine, like, this isn't like debilitating for me. It sucks ass. It sucks, but I can function because I can deal with it. I was like, I can only imagine. My wife has no pain tolerance, so I can only imagine how crippling. Well, I don't even have to imagine it. I see it. When she gets a migraine, she might as well she wants to just roll over and die. It takes everything she has to get out of bed and go to work. I mean, she's had to get doctor's releases basically saying that her migraines are so bad that they can prevent her from working. Which sucks. God, that sucks. I mean, because she's stuck in bed, basically. Migraines hit her like that. She's stuck in bed, and they're trying all of these new treatments and all this. They've got her on blood thinners and like preventative migraine pills now. Like instead of, oh, you have a migraine, here, take an Excedrin, or here, take this prescription strength migraine pill, and that'll knock you on your ass and you won't even feel anything because you're going to be unconscious. I think I mentioned that was like when I was going through all of my illness and cracked ribs and all that stuff back in November. It's like one of the meds they gave me was supposed to be it was one of the cough pills or something, and really it just knocked you out. I was like, yeah, you're not going to cough or you're not going to feel any pain. Why? Because you're asleep. That's almost like what her migraine pills would do, because they would leave her so groggy, she'd end up just sleeping it off. Like, yeah, you can't feel a shit when you're unconscious. That's basically it. But now they've got her on some preventative stuff. So hopefully that's worked. And so far, at least in the last week or so she's been on it, it's helped. So I'm hoping that really works out for her, because it sucks watching her go through that. But yeah, migraines aside, I've suddenly felt allergies and like stupid, like I feel like such a nerd going around. And I'm sorry for all the sniffy noises. I'm doing it on purpose to prove a point. But again, because today's kind of a good day. I'm not all sniffles and sneezing today. But especially in the last week, it's been super windy. We just had like a front move through that brought it from 90 degrees to a nice balmy 75. And so in that wind, everything on my face was just, and I was all just completely congested. Not that I'm not normally congested, but it was a whole new thing, and nose tickles and sneezing and all the, again, stereotypical allergy commercials. And I made the mistake over the weekend because I was like, okay, I think I'm just having like allergies. Again, new experience for me. So I go ahead and take a Benadryl. Because, what do you do when you have allergies? You take a Benadryl, right? Well, I took a Benadryl about an hour before I had to go to work. And I've, again, never had to take Benadryl before because I've never had allergy problems. And so I even asked my wife, because I'm like, hey, like, I don't want to take a Benadryl because I don't want it to make me sleepy, because everyone knows Benadryl makes you sleepy, right? And she's like, oh, if you just take one, you'll be fine. It's not a big deal. I was like, I see her take Benadryl and she knocks the fuck out. And she's like, she's a lightweight when it comes to meds, so makes sense. But she's like, no, it's fine. Just take one. You'll be all right. And by the time I get to work, I am so groggy and tired and sleepy that I can barely function. I'm sitting there just slogging through. I don't want to get out of my car to go into the office. I don't want to load up my work van. I don't want to drive to the job site. And fortunately it was one of those days where I'm just in a place all day. I was like, yeah, I've got 8 hours of I'm just going to be here and not jumping around to a lot of different job sites. But shit. And it was a late day. So it was like, normally on the weekends, I start really early. I can start like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock and work and have a nice day and then come home around dinner time or bedtime or whatever. And this time I had to be in at 5. So like my day was basically a normal day like any other day of the week. And I'm groggy as shit. And of course I took the Benadryl and I'm just like, no, thank you. And just like, I will openly admit I didn't get half of the stuff done that I really needed to. Like, I should have gotten a lot more work done on Saturday than I did, but I was just too damn groggy and too sleepy. And of course, it didn't wear off until about an hour or two before we were supposed to wrap up. I was like, all right, fine. Like, I'm finally not sleepy. And then I start sneezing again. I'm like, yep, Benadryl wore off. Great. And so now I'm discombobulated from being stuffy and like, fuck allergies. Now I understand why people are so miserable in allergy commercials. But it's just tripping me out. And again, fuck allergies. And why the hell do I suddenly have allergies after 33 years? Or even if you want to say, because it's like I moved back to Arizona after living in Texas for so long and all that. I've lived in the same area of the same part of Arizona for the last 9 years. And why is it suddenly in the last 6 months I have allergies? What the shit, people? What the hell, allergies? Nah, I'm not liking this. Allergies can bite me. Well, apparently they did. But, yeah. Yes, I'm bitching about allergies and the weather. Because it sucks. Yes, I'm bitching. Yes, I'm a crybaby. Because it's different and it's weird. And it's, for me, again, 33 years of my life not experiencing a migraine, not having allergies, not having to do blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly I'm getting old and shit. Suddenly I'm feeling shit and I'm not happy about it. It's like, and I go back to when I went on that whole show about how much I've gained weight and everybody like, seriously, you're complaining about being 150 pounds? Like, I'm not complaining about being 150 pounds. I'm complaining about the fact that in the last year I gained nearly 30 pounds because that was kind of trippy to me. And now I suddenly have allergies and I get migraines and all this crap. I'm like, what the hell? Getting old sucks. And I realized 33 isn't that old. And I realized I couldn't for the life of me pass for 33 on the outside. But, if you've listened to me long enough, my brain is about 1 million, and I'm eternally a crotchety old man. So, I don't know. I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to start taking Claritin or having, like, daily pills and shit like that. It just makes me feel even older. Okay. I really don't know where I'm going to go with this. So I'm just going to stop my crybaby little laugh, here and jump to some promos. I got some new shows, rolling this week because I've got so many and I don't get to them I don't get as much variety. So I've got some new promos for you this week and then I'll be right back with the news.
Remember the excitement after opening all your presents at Christmas time? And behold, Santa brought you an Atari 2600 and an extra controller. Remember sitting 2 feet from your color-enhanced Zenith television while your friends huddled around you as you played the newest games like Pitfall, Frogger, and Centipede? We played for hours on end and watched the days slip by as our hands cramped from holding the controller in the same position. But we didn't care. Now that we're all grown up, we get to reminisce and feel the nostalgia once more. Only this time, we share them with someone who has never lived in the 80s or even the 90s. Each week on 8-Bit Avenue, Matt and Katie give Reagan a tour on how cool old things can become new again. Listen on Blazing Caribou Studios, go to blazingcariboustudios.com, or look for 8-Bit Avenue on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ladies, we all know the best part of the day is when you finally get home and get rid of the one thing you've been dreaming of ditching for hours, your bra. If you're like me, sometimes you don't even make it to the front door. Hi, I'm Erin Whitehead, host of the Braless podcast, where once a week I kick back, relax, and have fun conversations with different guests about all kinds of topics. You can find us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join me on the Braless podcast, Unhooked and Unleashed.
Bullshit from the news.
Speaking of allergies, let's start off with something that'll definitely make you a little, hey, let's just say itchy. North Carolina restaurant serving up a tarantula burger. Yeah, so the Bowl City Burger and Brewery is serving up a tarantula hamburger because why not? So apparently you can only get this through entering a contest. It's not like every other like food contest where you go in and it's like, you know, can you eat the 5-pound burger? Can you eat the 60-ounce steak dinner? It's more of you go in, you enter, you get drawn, and if you're drawn, then you get to eat the tarantula burger. And it's just kind of a thing. I guess this restaurant, they're just doing like an exotic food month, and you're not even getting a deal on this thing. This thing costs $30. It's pasture-raised North Carolina beef, gruyere cheese, and an oven-roasted tarantula in spicy chili sauce. Because, you know, when you're having that tarantula, you really need a nice spicy sauce to go along with it. Ow? I mean, I understand that there are people that eat tarantulas. Absolutely. I'm aware of this. There are many parts of the world, and I've seen it in like National Geographic stuff and whatever the hell. You know, you can basically take a tarantula, roast it in a fire, and it's completely edible. I'm aware of this. Why put it on a hamburger? And it's like a whole tarantula. This is one of those stories that I'm glad I should share with my wife. I should absolutely just, you know, tag her in this and stick it on her Facebook because she would yell at me. She hates spiders so much. So a giant tarantula on a hamburger would just, yeah, she would probably throw her phone. It's like, delete it now, delete it now. But again, and I've seen people do it. Because basically all you gotta do to eat a tarantula, and again, you have to use fire, and you gotta burn off all the hairs. So you stick them in you burn off all the hairs, and you cook them just long enough to be dead, basically. Which again, it's a big spider. It doesn't exactly take a long time. But my understanding of a tarantula is really the only actually edible part of it is the body. Like the back side of the body. Like you bite that, the rest of it's like, you know, it's skeleton. It's, you know, if it was, you know, a bird eating spider, like one of those giant ass bastards that's, you know, the size of a dinner plate, you know, comparable to a king crab, that's probably if you're gonna eat a tarantula, eat a bird eating spider. Eat like one of those giant bastards, you know, something that you're probably gonna have to fight with it to catch it and kill it and eat it. Something like that is a meal, maybe, but more on account of there's more of it. It's got a lot to it because a regular, you know, brown tarantula, I'm going to assume is like the kind that is around here, perhaps. And it's the exotic meat month. Tarantula is only exotic meat if you want to count it as meat. It's a spider. It's an incredibly common spider, so it's not exotic unless you're in the Amazon. Then it's like, oh, these are Amazon tarantulas. Dude, I got like 50 of those damn things just roaming. It's Arizona. That's where they live. Anyway, but really, why would you? No. And all you get for eating the damn burger is a t-shirt. Like, no, there's people that do that shit for free just because it's food. but that'd be so damn crunchy. It's all skeleton. Again, if you're eating like a bird-eating spider that's huge and you cooked it down and you probably cracked the legs like a crab leg or something and pulled the meat out and all that, maybe do that. It's a similar structure to a crab, at least when you look at it, but not that I'm not a seafood person and I'm not interested in eating crabs or giant tarantulas, but I'm just saying, if you were gonna eat a tarantula, get a big one. Cause really, I mean, how many tarantulas do you have to eat to be a meal? I mean, they're having to stick it on a burger. It's just, and it seemed like it's kind of cheating. You know, make a tarantula burger. How about you just serve a couple of tarantulas stacked together on a bun with spicy chili sauce, of course. But otherwise, it's a hamburger that happens to have a tarantula on it. And again, you're just adding texture mostly because it's mostly just a lot of crunch. Because, you know, bugs, exoskeleton, big bug, lots of exoskeleton. Funny thing to say, especially twice. And yeah, you're just adding something crunchy. It's like adding chips on top of your burger, except this one has fangs. Dear God, I hope they defanged these. I didn't even think about that until just now. Please tell me they defanged these tarantulas before they stick them on your burger, because I don't want my burger to bite back. Ow. Yeah, ow. All right. Moving on. This one, it's not even weird. It's almost rage inducing. Not like what this dude did, but the reasoning behind it. So, man in England buys a used car for a 100-mile trip because it was cheaper than buying a train ticket. So I didn't realize, I know like in England and basically across the UK, there's a lot of train travel. It's just a much more common thing. In the States, trains aren't really a major thing. You get like subways and you get some like regional, in like the New England area, people that'll commute like, oh, I live in New Jersey, but I work in New York City or whatever. And they take a train from one area to the other. That's commuter trains. Fine. But long haul travel, like long distance travel, you don't really do a lot of that in the States. It's possible. There's still Amtrak that runs coast to coast. I theoretically could get on an Amtrak, out here in Phoenix, like way out in the suburbs of Phoenix, and take a train all the way back to San Antonio. It'll take a couple of days, but I could take a train to my dad's house, but shit, hey, that'd cost a lot. We actually budgeted that. That'd cost a couple $1,000. One way. Fuck that. But yeah, I didn't realize, like in England, it's much more common to take trains. It's a much more regular form of transportation. I didn't realize that they still cost a fuck ton of money. So, 27-year-old from London wanted to visit his, a friend in Bristol, 100 miles away. A train ticket was going to cost him $311. Yeah, screw that. So what did he do? He went and bought just a cheap-ass used car. So, I think Gumtree, I think it's kind of like Craigslist. Found a car on Gumtree, and he said the guy was selling it for scrap, but he bought a 97 Honda Civic. The engine ran, so he was like, all right, fine. And I guess you have to pay road taxes and all this weird stuff, but between the car, the taxes, and the insurance and the gas, he spent, the car cost, was it 80 pounds? And I don't know the translation. Everything here is in pounds. So let's see, we got 80, jump back up. The ticket was 218 pounds, which again is $311 US. But let's see. Run down the cost here. So, let's say he spent 81 pounds in taxes, 80 pounds for the car, 20 pounds on insurance, 25 pounds on gas. So, so yeah, he spent 206 pounds. The train ticket was going to run him between 210 and 218 pounds. So he saved a few bucks. But the fact of the matter is that it was cheaper for him to buy a car, get it insured, get the gas, pay the taxes than it was for a train ticket. And yes, he bought a beater, but still, he proved a point. Train tickets are damn expensive. And, he doesn't even plan on keeping a car. That's what I think is kind of funny, is, he did it to prove a point. Because obviously, he had the money for it, but it was just kind of ludicrous that that's what it's going to cost. But, he did it to prove the point that the train tickets are damn expensive. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous. If realistically people don't drive as much, it's not like America where everybody has a car. It's like in England, not everybody has a car. You don't need it. It's a much smaller area. You take the fucking train. You take a bus, you take a train, things like that. You use public transportation way more often. It should not cost so damn much. Seriously, I could hop on a Greyhound bus right now and I'll just use San Antonio as an example. I could take a Greyhound bus from Phoenix to San Antonio right now for $200. Less than he has to take a train 100 miles. I could travel 1,100 miles for $200. That is just stupid. Yeah. So way to go, dude. But he's even saying he's planning on just selling the car. He's like, I'll probably end up making a profit off of this thing because after selling the car, and I guess because he hasn't used up the time limit on the taxes permit or whatever, like, I'm assuming it's like a road permit or something. I don't know. I'm not in England. Hey, anybody in England who wants to tell me how that all works, go ahead and drop me a line, show@odddadoutpodcast.com if you are so inclined to explain to me how that works. Or I'll just assume it's just like I'm almost like a license or like your registration or whatever on your car is here. But he'll end up getting a refund on part of the taxes. He'll end up, sell the fucking car. Like, dude's going to end up making money instead of being out $300 on a stupid train ticket. I just thought that was cool. That's all. Like, less that it's a weird thing, more of a damn, that's crazy kind of thing. All right. Moving right along. Okay, have you heard of this game Fortnite? I only recently heard about it because I'm not like an online gamer. I'm not a mobile gamer. I've heard about it. A couple of the guys from work were talking about it, and I saw the name pop up in the news a little bit. Apparently, it's this like crazy popular online game. I know very little about it, but apparently it's just like one of those super popular things that everybody's playing Fortnite, and it's the big viral thing, whatever the fuck. And like, from what I've heard from the guys at work, that it's super popular and everyone's playing it and all this, but at the same time, apparently the developers of this game are throwing out patches and upgrades, and they're changing the game so quickly that it's glitchy as all hell. So a lot of them are like, yeah, no, I'm not really into this anymore. This game is weird. They're like, they enjoy the game, but the fact that like, oh, and there's a new update today, and there's a new update tomorrow, and there's a new update the next day, and they're constantly fixing and patching and upgrading and trying to be so on top of it. It's like, again, I don't know. I'm just going from what the guys at work tell me. Anyway, in Greensboro, North Carolina, a teen kept playing Fortnite as a tornado swept through his neighborhood. So, long story short, tornado's coming. Kid's sitting there on, I'm assuming his phone, playing Fortnite. Looks up, he starts seeing like roofs coming off the neighbors' houses and shit like this. And I'll give the kid credit. He did grab his nephew and his sister, and they basically like hunkered down in the bathroom. But he was still playing the fucking game. Like, really, kid? You know, your house could be torn to pieces. Your neighbors' houses are being torn to pieces. But fuck no, I gotta keep playing the game. Like, really? That's your fucking, your priority? Like, yes, okay, I'm gonna make sure everyone's okay, but I can't stop playing. Put the fucking phone down. Put the damn phone, stop the game. No, the game is not important. The tornado destroying your neighborhood is much more important. You know, and yes, great for him. Yes, he made sure that his sister and his nephew were safe. No, fuck that. Put the fucking phone down. Stop playing your goddamn game. Stupid damn kids and stupid mobile games. Bullshit. So I don't have them. You know, I mentioned forever ago, back when I had Pokemon Go on my phone, and I got rid of that shit as soon as my wife stopped playing it. I was like, good, I don't have to keep this shit, and I don't have to be, playing Pokemon for you. Because it was my wife's account on my phone, just so she could take advantage of the fact that I travel more for work and could get more steps and bullshit in the game. Anyway. Yeah, fucking, Fortnite. I hope that it just goes away. Go away, Fortnite. Alright. Let's get on to somebody else being stupid. Planet Fitness evacuated over remote detonator Wi-Fi name. So, basically, somebody thought they were gonna be funny. And they named their Wi-Fi network Remote Detonator. Which was apparently within close proximity to a Planet Fitness, which apparently has in-house Wi-Fi. So a guy goes into the Planet Fitness, he tries to connect to the Wi-Fi in-house, and sees one of the available networks says Remote Detonator. Goes to the management, like, oh my god, look at this, there's a remote detonator. And of course, they evacuate the building and call the police and bomb squad and all this. Basically, it just amounted to a dude had a funny, thought it was a joke, and had the Wi-Fi name Remote Detonator, cause it's funny. Kind of like on the Big Bang Theory, what's the Wi-Fi password? It's like, Penny, buy your own internet. Something shit like that. Penny, stop stealing my internet. Whatever, Get your own Wi-Fi. Basically, that's it. It was like just a gag name for the Wi-Fi. And they ended up evacuating the Planet Fitness. No, I mean, and I get it. I understand that, yes, you have to evacuate because, yeah, it's a theoretical safety issue, but really, who the fuck is going to name the Wi-Fi, hey, remote detonator, you're going to use Wi-Fi? Aren't you going to have, some other form of transmission device that maybe isn't publicly accessible? And would you even leave it, visible as Wi-Fi, kind of has to be? Anyway, it's silly and it's dumb and it's funny. So, yeah. Speaking of stupid people. Oh, man. In leaked memo, Apple warns employees to stop leaking memos. Oh, that's great. So, naturally, everybody knows at this point, shit gets leaked out of Apple all the time. Whether they're, oops, and we left iPhone prototypes just sitting in a bar because we're dumb fucks. Incidentally, you shouldn't give the iPhone prototype to be tested by the guy who goes to the bar and goes clubbing, because guess what? He's gonna drink and he's gonna forget his fucking phone. Why? Because people forget their fucking phones. This is what happens. But because Apple information is so valuable to the nerds out there and the tech people, everyone's got to get the scoop. Shit gets leaked all the time. And I'm sure a lot of people get fired over it. And apparently a handful of people have been arrested over it. According to a lengthy memo, air quotes, from their internal blog, Apple caught 29 leakers last year, and 12 of them were arrested. I don't know how you get arrested for that exactly. I don't know how criminal that is, but maybe industrial espionage. I don't know why you get arrested for leaking memos. But yeah, they leaked the memo talking about the leaked memos and leaked information. I think that whoever leaked the memo was just doing it out of oh yeah, this is going to be sweet. It's because you can't leak that memo without just laughing your ass off about the irony. Is it irony? I don't know. I don't care. Misuse of the term. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean. But the fact that the leak, the memo about leaked memos got leaked is just utterly hilarious. It's like, we're cracking down on all this information leakage, and the crackdown got leaked. Which really kind of goes back to so many people who claim that really the leaks and everything from Apple are all BS. Which I kind of agree with. I don't agree with, but I totally buy into that idea that like when so much shit gets leaked and every single new iPhone gets leaked, you gotta think, no, this was just marketing. It's like, who are all these leakers? The entire marketing department. They just send shit out and say it's top secret. Because it gets hype. That's what you do. That's why people go out and buy the new fucking $1,000 iPhone. Because there was all this hype about it. And like, oh, Engadget got a hold of a new iPhone X prototype because somebody left it in a bar. Why? Because every Apple phone gets left in a bar. Probably the same bar. It's probably around the corner from Apple headquarters. Dave just walks in, sets it on a bar stool, and leaves. But yeah, it's just, it's too convenient. Too much information is leaked. Big fat air quotes. Too much information is leaked by Apple for it to actually be leaked and not be left. Because, yeah, everything. Apple can't keep shit a secret. Everybody leaks Apple stuff. Microsoft, everybody else keeps their shit pretty tight unless they want you to know. So, yeah, Apple. Either, no, I have no advice for Apple. Dear Apple, stop. Just stop. Just give it up. Stop being so damn, I have to assume they're just being dicks about it. And that's why everybody leaks shit, is they're just kind of assholes when it comes to that shit, because apparently even the memo about leaked shit gets leaked. So, yeah. But I'm going to say it. I had a hard time. I almost didn't have one this week, but it popped up in the news today and I couldn't pass it up. It's time for the Jackass of the Week. Australian women sentenced in cocaine cruise that they posted all over Instagram. So, 2 Canadian women were arrested and tried in Australian court over a $16 million cocaine smuggling trip on a luxury cruise line. So apparently, basically, these women got suckered in by a sugar daddy who basically told them, hey, we'll send you on these exotic cruises, and all you have to do is, carry these, suitcases full of cocaine along with you. So they ended up smuggling 95 kilos of cocaine on a 7-week cruise from Britain to Ireland to the US to Bermuda, Colombia, Panama, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, and then to Australia, where they all got caught. Meanwhile, the girls are posting lots of selfies and pictures all over their Instagram because that's why you're on a cruise. They're like, oh yeah, I get to travel the world and get to show off all this stuff and do all this stuff that I'd never get to do, and all I have to do is haul drugs. They were fully aware of what they were doing. And it was just like, oh, I want to go on a cruise, and I can't afford, this is a $17,000 cruise. I can't afford that. But, the fucking sugar daddy was literally hiring her out as an escort. Big red flag there, bitch. And then says, hey, I'll send you on a world cruise. You just have to haul coke for me. You a dumb bitch. And, what the fuck? And this all goes down to this fucking millennial, like, Instagram famous, I have to be seen doing extravagant things fucking culture, where you have to post selfies every day of look at how amazing my life is. Look at me, I'm in Peru, and then tomorrow, look at me, I'm in Ireland, and look at me, I'm in Panama. Look at me, there's a a fucking, 100 pounds of coke behind me. Pay no attention to that mule. No, fuck. You're stupid. People want to get Instagram famous. You want to be an Instagram model. You're not a fucking model. You're just a bitch with a camera. You're just a pretty girl who takes lots of pictures of yourself because you're self-absorbed. And you have to get famous and you have to have 1 million people like your pictures and you're willing to mule coke for it. You a dumb bitch. I'm half upset that her sentence was so light. One of the girls was sentenced to 7 years. The other was sentenced to 8 years. They both have to serve about half of that in prison in Australia before they're expected to be deported to Canada. They're not eligible for parole for nearly 5 years, and they're likely to get deported after that. I don't understand that little bit. I don't understand. It's like, you sentenced them to 8 years. Make them serve 8 years. I guess it's if they get paroled, then they get deported. I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, what the hell? Why would you do that? I mean, you're so desperate to get Instagram famous that you're willing to mule drugs and face a life sentence. In many of the countries that they stopped in, they were facing a life sentence for the drug charges. 95 kilos. That's around 200 pounds of cocaine. Damn. Again, $16 million in cocaine they found. And they literally caught them because of the Instagram documentation of their trip. They're like, oh, we're here. They figured out where they were going and what they were doing. They figured out that the cruise was being used for that purpose. Like the 2 girls and then their other accomplice, they tracked them. Like, we knew they would be in Australia at this time and they fucking busted them when they got there. Like, are y'all you're stupid. You're so stupid. Never mind that you're, the selfie obsessed, Instagram obsessed. Yes, I realize I've had Instagram, but I don't do shit with it minus promote the show and maybe take a few pictures of my kids. But those people who are so fucking Instagram selfie obsessed and have to take pictures of themselves and get famous and blah, 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 that you're willing to smuggle drugs to get Instagram famous, you're fucking dumb. She should spend the rest of her life in prison to maybe get some fucking brain cells. Sorry. No, not sorry. Dumb bitches. Dumb bitches. They were tracked the whole time. They knew they were gonna bust them in Australia. That's how reckless they were. You're not even smart about it. Not that you were smart to begin with. Okay, I'm bitching in circles, so I'm gonna stop. Safe to say, these 2 bitches rot in prison for your stupidity. You jackasses. Alright, I'm gonna take one more quick promo break, get a little live stream for The Cure in here, and I'll be right back with this week's recommended listening, now that I'm older.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the believer.
I'm Cody. I'm the skeptic.
And together we are BSP, the Idiosyncrasy Files.
The podcast where 2 idiots discuss weird phenomena. This week we're talking about ghosts.
I believe in ghosts.
Why?
There's too much weird stuff in the world for it to be coincidental.
See, I don't, because ghosts are souls, and shirts, pants, and jockstraps do not have souls. These ghosts should be naked.
My jockstrap has a soul.
Moving on. Join us every week where we talk about cool phenomena ranging from
skinwalkers
to
simulacra.
There you go. Bye! Find us on Google Play, iTunes, and all those other podcasting places, or visit us at www.bspodphx.com.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Justin. We are the Epic Film Guys, and we'd like just a moment of your time to talk about an extremely important event coming up this May.
Last year, we hosted the live stream for The Cure, a 12-hour live stream fundraiser where we raised $2,500 for the Cancer Research Institute.
86 cents out of every dollar raised goes to research toward finding a cure.
And this year, we're aiming to smash that goal, and we need your help to do it.
Join us from May 18th through the 20th for 30 hours of amazing live stream content from us and a whole host of amazing podcasters who will be joining us to try to reach $5,000.
And for more information, please visit www.livestreamforthecure.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Recommended listening.
What's up, guys? Be sure to check out Now That I'm Older on the Rogue Intel Podcast Network. Me and Kenny sit down and talk about how getting older sucks, but can be awesome at the exact same time. We also look at pop culture, review a few movies, share some personal stories, and just basically poke fun at the world around us. Be sure to check out Now That I'm Older on the Rogue Intel Podcast Network.
So what better way is there to describe Now That I'm Older other than that, really? I mean, right there. Getting older sucks. It can be awesome at the same time. And it's a lot of like, the way they format the show is interesting because it will cut between Shane telling a story, very kind of on its own, telling a story about his childhood and things like that. And then cut back to conversations with Shane and Kenny, and sometimes playing games. And they recently did a Would You Rather. I don't know if you'd call it a successful version of the game, where Kenny basically kind of shuts him down. It's a game that's not supposed to have a hard pass in it, but apparently there's a hard pass when it's played on Now That I'm Older. But their conversations can go all over the place. I mean, whether it's talking about, working in fast food or having a conversation with a phone sex worker. That was actually an interesting one because they had a Songbird Wren who is she's a phone sex operator, and I've heard her on a few other shows kind of doing the rounds with like, they make a podcast friend and they kind of bounce around for a couple of shows to different places doing interviews. And when I heard her on with the guys on Now That I'm Older, I was like, you don't sound so annoying. And I think every other show wanted her to be doing the phone sex voice and all that stuff. And it was kind of annoying. But when I heard her on Now That I'm Older, I'm like, you sound like a normal person. You're actually kind of cool sounding, like, yeah, you're a little, hyperactive, let's say. But I got a massive laugh. I just about spit out my coffee laughing at that episode. And they're just fun. Just the interaction between them is hilarious. And the back and forth and it's almost like, it's like they're arguing without arguing, I guess. I mean, you never know what the hell they're gonna talk about. You're going from McDonald's and to like, oh, we were egging this dude's house and my car died. Or that time we stole 20 fucking pumpkins. Or, shit about fighting geese or not, or whatever the hell. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like every childhood story that you probably didn't tell anybody because you were probably going to get in trouble for it. That's what this show is. That's what this show was. This show. That's what I originally intended to do here, was all those childhood stories, because everybody's got those stories from their childhood. They just put them out on the internet now. And I think everybody can kind of relate, even if you don't have that exact story, that, me and my friends were doing this one stupid thing and then something went completely wrong and we were, everybody's got one of those stories, some variation. And so it's immensely relatable. Everybody's got one of those stories. And so I can sit there and listen to these guys, even though like sometimes it's like, and it's a little weird for me. And I'll say, because of the sort of the way they format the show, like I said, they'll transition between telling a single story, and there's kind of a single story that kind of informs the rest of the show. But when they cut between the storytelling with nice music and the, just very narrated element of the show and the conversation and the bullshitting back and forth between Shane and Kenny it's a little odd to me. And I'll say it's a little odd, but it works. And they've been doing this long enough that I'm not about to tell them to change their show, and it works. And it's a good show, but it's a different thing for me. And it's like, that's an interesting way of formatting your show. But again, I'm not going to tell them how to do their show. They've been at this a hell of a lot longer than me, and you go. But it's a great show and it's fun. And like I said, it's super relatable because everybody's got one of those stories. They've all got a story about a thing or about your parents or that time, the time you caught your parents. You know what I mean? Everybody's got one of those stories. And so it's almost like, would they call it group therapy? Just everybody kind of bullshitting around and chatting about, like, oh, you remember that time we did that thing that was really stupid? Or the show is called Now That I'm Older. You're kind of talking about the difference between the stupid shit you did as a kid and then life now. And, the way things change and the way you grow up and all this. And it's very refreshing. You kind of get that, oh, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who did that stupid thing. They're just as stupid as I was when I was a kid. Everybody was stupid when they were a kid. That's it. That's the show. Everybody was dumb when they were a kid. That's your new title, guys. Now that I'm older, we're all stupid then. But it's a really fun show. Absolutely worth a listen. So do yourself a favor. Check out Now That I'm Older at nowthatimolder.com. Well, that's going to do it for me this week. Before I forget, go to livestreamforthecure.com. Early donations are open. Get those in. I want to see that number jump. We are about a month away from this event, and I want to see your money. Show me the money, people. Yeah, I totally went there. All my idiocy aside, thank you so much for listening to the show. Remember, you can catch all of the past episodes, check out the show notes, all the links to any news stories I've covered, and the full recommended listening list at the all-new odddadoutpodcast.com. If you have any suggestions for any stories or podcast you think I should check out, drop me a line, show at odddadoutpodcast.com, or on Facebook and Twitter, or even Instagram at odddadout. And until next week, I am still Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out. Thank you, and good night.